All right, you guys, this is week 3 of NTI Learning for Algebra 1. We're doing Introduction to Factoring. Notes, this is something you'll use throughout your whole math career in high school. All right, so blank is the highest number that divides exactly into 2 or more numbers. Well, the definition for this is it's called the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor is the highest number that divides exactly into 2 or more numbers. It's also known as the GCF. Okay? So it's the highest number that divides exactly into 2 or more numbers. The biggest number divides. Okay, so let's do some practice finding the GCF. I know you guys have done this before. We need to do some practice though. Example 1. Find the GCF, the greatest common factor of 12 and 16. So first we got to list the factors of 12 and 16. And all factors is just two things that multiply to give you 12. So let's start listing some factors of 12. Well, we automatically know that 1 times anything, 1 times 12, 1 times 12 will give you a factor, right? It multiplies to 12. Let's try some other stuff. Let's go with 2. 2 times what gives us 12? Well, 6. So we have 2 and 6 as a factor. Okay? Let's try another number. What else multiplies to 12? Well, we have 3 times 4. That multiplies to 12. So we have 3 and 4. Okay? So we've listed out all of our factors, meaning things that just multiply to 12, all right here. So here's our factors, our things that multiply to 12. And you can also look at it as what divides into 12 evenly. Well, 12 divides by 6 evenly. That gives us 2. 12 divided by 4 gives us 3. 12 divided by 2 gives us 6. So you can always do it that way as well. So now let's find the factors of 16. So we did the factors of 12. Let's do the factors of 16. So for 16, we'll start with, well, 1 divides into everything. So we have 1 times 16. So we have 1 and 16. Give yourself a little space. Okay. Let's list some other stuff. Well, what else divides into 16? Well, it's an even number, so it has to be 2. So we have 2 times what gives us 16? Well, 8. So we have 2. And we'll put 8 right over there, give us some space for some more numbers. What else multiplies to 16? 3 times 5, no, that gives us 15. 3 times 6, that gives us 18, so that doesn't work. What about 4? Oh, 4. 4 times 4 gives us 16. That looks like that's all there is to it right there. Now, your greatest common factor, the highest number that divides into 2 or more numbers exactly, well, the highest number out of all of these, well, we have 4. We have 1, 2, 1, 2, okay. Then we have 3. That doesn't have 3. But then 4 and 4. Oh, well, 4 is our greatest common factor. So your GCF is 4. And that's how you do that part. So that's review. So let's keep rocking and rolling. Example 2. Example 2. So we have example 2. Find the GCF. Well, we're going to find the GCF the same way we did right here, but we're going to have it in the kind of like the generic rectangle format. So it's kind of in these boxes, but we're still going to find the GCF. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. 15 and 30. So, and we're going to put the GCF right here just to kind of get you used to using the generic rectangle. So let's start listing the factors of 15, things that multiply to 15. Well, we know the first thing that multiplies to 15, always 1 and 15. So we have 1 times 15, all right? Well, does 2 multiply to 15 evenly? 2 times 7, no. Okay. What about, or 2 times 8 is 16, so that doesn't work. What about 3? 3 times what gives us 15? Well, 5. So we found 2 other factors, 3 and 5. And I think that's it. All the things that multiply to 15. We're going to do 30 somewhat of a different way to do 30, okay? So we have 30. We have 1 times 30. So I'll put it, I'm going to cross this out now. I'm going to do 1 times 30. That's our first thing. What else? Well, it's an even number, so we know 30 divided by 2 is 15, right? So 2 times 15. So we can list these. Leave yourself some space for some other numbers. I might not have enough space. We'll see. Okay. Then we have, well, let's see 3. Well, does 3 multiply? What 3 times what gives us 30? Well, if you don't know, you can always do 30 divided by 3. Well, 30 divided by 3 is 10. So 3 times 10 gives us 30. And it looks like we have 2 more. Let's see. 4. Does 4 go into 30? No. Does 5 go into 30? 30 divided by 5. Yeah, well, it does. 5 times 6. Now, I ran out of room, so I'm just going to put an insert just like you guys do in English or language arts. 5 and 6 inserted in there. Okay? There's all our factors. Let's see the greatest one. Well, we look over here. 1, 3, 5. 15. Okay. 1, 3, 10, 15, 30. Well, the greatest common factor is 15. And an easy way to do this is the way I always told my students. Look at the smaller number of the two, 15 and 30. Before you even start the problem, see if 15 will divide into 30 evenly. Does 30 divide by 15 evenly? Yes, it's by 2. So we know our greatest common factor is going to be 15 without having to do all this. So this is just a longer way just to show you. Sometimes you won't even have to do that. So we now found that 15 is our greatest common factor. Now we're going to be finding the product, the outside, the base, and the height, but we'll get to it. So to find this, to find the outside, you just do 15 times what gives us 15? Well, 1. 15 times what gives us 30? 2. And then we have our greatest common factor, what we wanted, and then we just did a little extra stuff, okay? And that's all there is to it. All right, let's go to example 3. We're going to get into the area we need to go. GCF. So we got to find the GCF. So we have 4x squared and 8x. Oh, we have variables. Well, the variables, let's just do it like this. X squared, really written out long ways, is x times x. There's 2 x's, right? For this, there's 1x. So in each box, how many could we take out of each box to have the same amount? So can we take out 2 x's on each box? Can we do that? No. Can we take out 1 on each box? Yes. So we take care of the variables right away and get that out of the way. So the part of your greatest common factor is going to be x. Then we just look at the numbers. Well, 4, we have 1 times 4, and then 2 times 2. So we have 1, 2, and 4. Let's look at 8. So we have 8 is 1 times 8. Always start with 1. That multiplies 8. We're finding factors, things that multiply to 8. And then let's see what else. Let's see what 2. Does 2 go into 8? Yeah, well, 4 times. Yeah, 2 times 4. And I think that's it. So we have 1, 2, 4, and 8. Our greatest common factor, let's see the biggest number divides into both. It'll be 4 and 4. So we bring the 4 over here, and we get 4x is our greatest common factor. Okay? So, at this point, you see that, and really, the easy way to do this, look at the smallest number first. Does 4 go into 8 evenly before doing all this? Does 4 go into 8 evenly? Yes, it does. So we already know it's 4. Before doing all that, we know that 8 divided by 4 is 2. So 4 would be our greatest common factor. To find the rest, the base of the product, to find this base down here, you can actually do this. You can just do 4 times what gives us 4? Well, 1. X times what gives us x squared? X. 4x times what gives us 8x? 2. So we have x plus 2. So it ends up becoming our base and our height. Our base is x plus 2. You can put the 1 if you want, doesn't matter, times 4x. The area is a sum, well, 4x squared plus 8x. Those aren't like terms, so you're finished. Okay? Let's go to the next one. All right, we have x squared and 4x. Well, I don't even know if we need to do all that. Let's try and look at it like this. We have x squared. Let's write it out long way. So we have x squared. So it's x times x. And then we have right here x. Well, how many can we take out of each box? Well, there's 2 here and 1 here. Well, that means we can take 1 here and we can take 1 here. That's it. Okay? And at this point, you could put a 1 here if you wanted to, and it would be the factors over here. Does 1 divide into 4 evenly? Yes, so you can always, at this point, you can just take out a 1, okay? And then you just do what we've done before. We have 1 times what gives us 1? 1 times what gives us 1? It gives us 1. X times what gives us x squared? X. So we have 1x. 1x times what gives us 4x? 4. So we have x plus 4 as our base. Then x times what gives us 3x? Well, that's just 3. Okay, so we found our product. That is what we're doing. We're finding our product. Given the area as a sum, given the inside, find the outside, the product, the base times height. So the base and the height. So to write this out, we'll do x plus 4, the base, plus our times x plus 3. X plus 3. Okay, to find the area as a sum, well, we got to do a little work on this. Let's write it out. This is good preparation for what I saw in some of the stuff we did last week. So we have to add everything on the inside. Add up everything on inside. Combine like terms if you need to. So we start with our biggest exponent, x squared. Then we have our like terms in the diagonal. So plus 3x plus 4x plus 12. So do we have any like terms? Yes, they're in the middle. So we have right here, so we have x squared plus 3x plus 4x is 7x plus 12. So we have x squared plus 7x plus 12. Let's do one more. All right, example 5. We have to start with this, and we start with the bottom right here, and we see 2x squared and 10x. Well, we have x times x let's do the variables first, and we see we can take out an x. And then we see, oh, 2 and 10. Well, let's try 2. Does 2 divide into 10 evenly? Yes, it does. So that's the trick without doing all this. So 2 goes into 10 evenly. So we have 10 divided by 2 is 5. So we have 2 right here. There's your greatest common factor. Now let's find the base and height. 2 times what gives us 2? It's 1. X times what gives us x squared is x. 2x times what gives us 10x? Well, times 5. 2x times 5 gives us 10x. There's our base. So we have x plus 5, our base, times our height. Our height, well, the last one, we have 1x times what gives us negative x? Negative 1. To make this negative, you just multiply by negative 1. So we have 2x minus 1. Okay? And to find the area, so we didn't even have to do that trick over there. Sometimes you will, though. Lastly, we do our sum, and we add up everything on the inside. We have 2x squared. We have our like terms. So we have negative x plus 10x, and then minus 5. Combine the like terms. Negative x plus 10x is 9x, plus 2x squared minus 5. And 2x squared plus 9x minus 5. And you're done. And that is the intro to factoring, you guys. Define your product.